Jaxson, what would it mean to you and to the organization to finish out the season with a win?
Yeah, it'd be big for us. Not only just for us, this team this year, we have one more opportunity to go out there and play as brothers and go compete, against a division team, division rival. So it's going to be huge for us. And then at the same time, continue to carry momentum.
Jaxson, I think you made your first appearance against the Cowboys, right? You had that first appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So does it mean anything to you to just have a chance to play against the Cowboys and kind of what they represent and everything?
This is a huge division game, so that's obviously, matters to me a ton, and I'm excited to go out there and compete against them for sure.
But just in general, with them obviously being a big name brand or anything, watching growing up, does that mean anything to you or just a division game?
It's another NFL game for me, so, really excited for it, and the fact that it's the Cowboys, there's a little extra something to it for sure.
How far back does that game seem? Like when you watched, I'm sure you went back and watched film.
Forever.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like forever ago.
Yeah, were there things that happened in that game that you didn't even remember when you went back and watched?
There was just some incredible plays at the very end of the game. Russ balled. They played good in the final minutes to win it for them. So I'm excited to get an opportunity to play against them again.
Does the season seem very long to you? Your first NFL season is longer than a college season. Does it seem like it's about ready to end here?
I would love to continue to keep playing. I love football, and there's no thought for me of, I'm hoping this to be over. I want to keep going. It's going to kill me to watch other teams play while we're not. So I've just had a ton of fun competing this year, and I've loved the opportunity. It's just I think for all of us it's a dream to have this opportunity to play a season.
Do you think will you watch the playoffs, or do you tune it out?
No, I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
How would you sum up your rookie season in general?
Well, first and foremost, definitely wish we won more games. So that's kind of just on the forefront of my mind of preparing. And then I think that at the same time, I think I've done some good things. Feel like I've had a productive year, played at a high level, and obviously there's a lot to continue to grow from and take strides on. But I've been happy with some things, and obviously you want to clean up on some other areas as well.
What did you see from the tape on Sunday that you liked?
The work?
From the tape, Sunday's tape. What'd you like out of that?
Everything. We balled, so thought we were just in a rhythm, in a flow, and just played super productive football.
Jaxson, there was a video afterwards where you went up to Joe Shane in the locker room and said something like, "We got to start doing this more often." What was that moment like? What's your relationship like with Joe? Because obviously he's upstairs, you're downstairs.
Joe's very involved with all of his players, so there's definitely a relationship piece. At the same time, he's the person who drafted me and had a lot of time with him during the draft process. So just excited for the future here, and I know that we're going to win a lot of games.
What did you learn about yourself this year? The biggest lesson you learned about yourself and playing in the NFL?
Playing in the NFL, number one, it's a week-to-week season. It's a week-to-week league. In college, it's like if you lose 2 or more than 2 games, you're kind of out of it. And in the NFL, you got to be able to bounce back quickly. So that was probably number one. And then number 2, I think like the biggest thing is if you don't capitalize on plays at the very end of the game in crunch time situations, and the other team does, there's a good chance that they might win the game. So you got to capitalize on every single moment.
I understand the focus is the team and winning, but I don't know if you've had a chance to think about it. What would Rookie of the Year mean to you?
I haven't really thought of that too much. I'm just trying to go out there and win games. I'm not really thinking about that right now, to be honest with you.
Jax, when you look at week to week, you say it's a week to week league. In your mind, when you're looking at tape, I know you're getting ready for the next opponent. How much is, other than the bye week, a self scout for you, or is this an off season kind of thing where once everything calms down, that's when you start making your checklist as to things you want to improve? or is that a day-to-day thing for you that you do make that list for yourself that, okay, here's where I want to go this week versus next week?
Yeah, I would say probably the day off during the week is kind of the day where you kind of have more time to reflect on what you need to improve on from the previous week. But like you said, during the bye week, that's kind of the time where it entails the whole, the full picture of everything. I think at the same time you try to just, take those opportunities in practice to, whether it's in individual drills or, just bringing out a list of like, all right, this is what I need to improve on today, because so much of your time is obviously towards the very next opponent. So I think I'm just continuing to evolve and learn, study habits, throughout this year. And it's been great to have Russ and Jameson in the room to, at the same time hold myself accountable and hold, us as a room accountable.
We asked you a lot about it at the beginning about Russ and Jameis being in that room with you. Now that we're like basically at the finish line, I'm curious, like, what were you able to learn from them, and like what ways were they able to support you and help you?
Geez, that's a loaded question, because there's so much I can't really just pinpoint just one thing. I mean, I spend so much time, like extra time with them every single day. Whether it's we're watching our own cut-ups together. Obviously you watch film by yourself when you go home or whatever, but we spend so much time as a room, as a group at the facility. And one thing that they've just been awesome with me is they've constantly been asking questions like, hey, what more could we give you in this area or during the process of preparing for the game. So I've just had an immense amount of respect towards them, and definitely blessed to have those guys as leaders and people who I really respect.
What's been the best part of the experience, like this season as a whole for you?
Obviously just week to week being able to play against the best players in the world. And there's only 32 teams, so there's not a lot, and you're kind of like you're the 1% of your profession. So just having that opportunity to go out there against these great players, and it's just been a lot of fun, just competing, and I'm just excited for the future to continue to grow, and I know it's gonna be a lot of fun going forward.
Did you prove anything to yourself this year?
I wouldn't say I proved anything. I'm confident in my abilities, so I know that if I prepare the right way, that I'm going to perform. I'm going to bounce back from mistakes, and in situations I'm going to thrive as well. So I've just love being able to play at this level and continue to go forward.
I know you have relationships with the receivers that you've played with all season, but Malik, you only played with him for a half. The next game you play in after this one, ideally you'll be together. What do you look forward to in that relationship with him?
Yeah, well, for sure, continue to be together and light it up. So, I'm excited. Those are conversations that we have a lot, and we're two of like some of the younger guys in the entire league at 22. So, we got a long future together, and there's going to be a lot of great moments. And I know that he's been attacking this recovery process, and he's going to come back stronger and better, and he's going to be hungry for sure.
What did you think of his pancake commercial?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's like fantasy football.
Yeah.
But that's sort of your reality too.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. I mean, so does that sting a little bit, or no?
I mean, definitely. It stings not to have him out there, ever. Yeah. I mean, he's an incredible talent. He could beat anybody in the world. So when you have a guy like that out there, he's a safety, guy who's going to come down with the ball at all costs.
Beyond a win, what are you looking to get personally out of the last game? I guess, do you have a goal, personal improvement, anything that you want to work on?
Wins number one, and just to take advantage of the opportunity with the team that we have right now and the coaching staff that we have, and the league is. There's so much movement from year to year, so you never know what's going to happen, how's it's going to shake. So I have a ton of respect for the guys in this locker room, and been able to make great relationships with them. So just want to give it my all for them, and to take advantage of the opportunity that we have.
Jaxson, you just mentioned, you're a confident guy. I don't think anyone's ever questioned your confidence. Are you more confident right now than you were the day you walked in? And do you look at the league right now and yourself and say, I could be a great quarterback in this league?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the vision that I have for myself. That's the expectation. And everybody here has the highest expectation for that. So, that's the environment that I want to be in. That's the environment that I want to thrive in. And I think that, I'm just going to continue to make strides. Done that my entire career. And, I'm just really excited.
Obviously, when we get to Monday, they're going to launch into a coaching search. I mean, do you want to have any input in that, or what are you looking for in a coach here?
Well, first of all, I've really, enjoyed and have a ton of respect for the coaching staff that we have right now. They work, tremendously hard, and we have great relationships on and off the field. So, that's number one for me. Number two, I care about winning. So, whatever that takes, and I'm really just focused on this last game, to be honest with you.
Jaxson, does this team fall off from turning it around next season?
Say it again.
Is this team far off from turning it around next season?
No, I mean we got the pieces. We've this is not an excuse, but obviously we've had a tough schedule, and we've been in really tight games where this season could completely flip. So that's kind of just the league, those one-score games and who can capitalize on those moments. And there's a lot of teams who have great records right now where it could be completely flipped for them as well. So we got a lot of talent. We have some good vets, and we have a ton of young guys who are going to continue to thrive. And we just have, I've said this a lot, like we just have a ton of excitement for the future because we know what this thing can do and how we can flip this around.
Have you guys stayed together, even obviously with the losing streak a lot? But how tight has the locker room been?
There's just the guys in there are awesome. There hasn't been any fall off from intensity in practices, and I think that shows a lot about just the character that we have as a team. But at the same time, there's a lot where you look on this year and you're gonna make sure that doesn't happen going forward, and we got to clean it up, and we got to prepare harder. We got to have a great great habits moving forward as a team and grow our relationship and so we can win moving forward.